Welcome to Weekday Faith, a place that takes you beyond Sunday morning and into your week. And we are in a series right now on Psalm 91 as we are talking about our secret place and the importance of that. And so we're going to continue into verses 3 and 4. I love this portion of the chapter. I find it very comforting, and I hope it will encourage you. But let's just read those two verses, 3 and 4. Surely he shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. The very start of verse 3 is the word surely. It is a word that is saying, most definitely, he shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler. There is a confidence in this word. There is a promise in this word that this is something he's going to do for you. And Mark 7, it really gives a beautiful picture of the bread of deliverance that belongs to the children of God. And that is something that as soon as we come to Christ, as soon as we give our heart to him, then we are part of this beautiful release of all of the sin, of all of the entrapment that we have been living under. And God is faithful to his promises. And so we don't have to fear the enemy, and he will continually try to trip you up and entrap you. However, here is the promise that he will deliver you. It doesn't mean you're not going to have hard things, but it means he cannot ensnare you. It means he cannot trip you up. It means that he cannot put upon you anything that is going to harm your soul. And so this is a very beautiful passage of promise, and that it is a safeguard that is around us. And the place where we find that safeguard is in verse 4. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. He shall cover you with his feathers. That word cover means to entwine. And so it's not just a loose coverage of feathers of a wing. It is an entwined, it's like he takes the wings, and he entwines them over you, and he makes it so that it is a sure covering over your life. And so it is a place where you can even relax. You can kind of just, all of the pressures and all of the difficult circumstances, it is under the wings of the Almighty that we can let our guard down, that we can let our defenses down and be at rest and be at peace, because we know he is surely, perfectly, securely entwining his wings around us, and it is our covering. It is the place of refuge for us. And often part of what the snare of the fowler is trying to do is to keep us from being under those feathers, to keep us out from being under the protection of his wings. But it's really the place we're to run to. It's a place we're to abide in. And so part of that covering is the power of his truth. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. And so when the enemy is trying to speak lies to you, when he is trying to lure you, when he is trying to entrap you, there is no place for his words to penetrate. The truth of God is a shield. It is a defense for us. It is the place of defense against all of the onslaught of the enemy. And so when those voices come at you, it is now become the place where you are surrounded by his wings, by his feathers, but part of that shield is his truth. And so the lies of the enemy cannot penetrate where we have elevated his truth, where we have surrounded ourselves with his truth. But there's really an action in that. We have to choose to do that. We have to choose to surround ourselves with what God says, with the power of his word, so that the enemy does not have free reign to our ears and to our minds. And so what God offers is a beautiful, comforting place. But we really have to, he doesn't just reach out to cover. We come underneath. We come into that place of covering when we come into the secret place. If you remember in verse 1, he who abides in the secret place. It is the place of living and dwelling, not just coming when we have times of need, but it is the place of relationship with our Father, with the Almighty. And so this week, I want to encourage you to take time to really use your imagination. And I want you to imagine all of your stuff that you're dealing with, all your hard places. And I want you just to imagine his wings covering you as a protection. I want you just to imagine his truth surrounding you as a shield. And I want you to imagine yourself just relaxing, letting go of having to be strong, of having to rise up in victory. And I want this just to be a place where you can just breathe a little bit, take a deep breath, relax into him, relax into his presence, relax into his truth. And as you're doing that, maybe just ask the Lord, what are areas that I have not completely surrounded myself with your word? Where are areas, what are things that I have let the enemy speak into my life? And they've now become an open place, so to speak. There's a lack of covering there because I've allowed his voice to come in. And I'm going to raise up a safeguard against that. I'm going to raise up a shield against that, and I'm going to implement your truth into that place. I'm going to begin to believe your truth. I'm going to begin to contemplate your truth over my life, over my family, over my situations. And so I want you to get very intentional this week about doing that and just see how your abiding place in the secret place under his wings, how that makes it easier for you to bear those difficult places, because it doesn't mean that they all just go away, but it means that we deal with them from the position of being covered by his wings and having his truth surround us. So that's your assignment for this week. You may be writing out this passage week by week. You may be memorizing these verses week by week, but I want you to take a step beyond that and begin to say, okay, God, how am I not doing this? What does it look like to take this to another level? And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the relief that you feel as you enter into the place of abiding under his wing. God bless, and we will see you on the next episode.